Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I am feeling all of the fall vibes. We are in September, so you already know the fall looks are about to come in clutch, okay? This is my favorite time of year. I have been so excited to dig into my entire eyeshadow palette collection and pull out all of the palettes that I think are perfect for this time of year. If you're the kind of person like me that loves to change up your makeup with the seasons, this is the video for you. I did film this eye look for a TikTok and a YouTube short. It should be up on my channel already. If not, it will be up soon. But everything that I am wearing on my face will be listed and linked down below in the description. But let's get into what I think are some of the best palettes for the fall. Make sure you go and grab a snack and something to drink because it might be a little long one, but I have my snack right here. Very weird, untraditional combo, grapefruit and Diet Coke, okay? I love me some grapefruit and I love me some Diet Coke. Let's start off with the first one. So I contemplated if I wanted to rank these, but I was like, no, because I love all of them. So we're not ranking them. They're not in any particular order. We're just gonna chill out and talk about the palettes. But this is the first one I wanted to talk about. This is what I have on my eyes today. It has been a hot minute since I pulled out this palette, but if this palette does not scream fall to you, I don't know what will. This is the bperfect Carnival Antidote palette. This is in collaboration with Stacey Marie. And this palette, it's giving all the fall vibes. All of the fall vibes are in this palette. For my look today, I used a lot of shades off of this side of the palette. And then I use this yellow. I just feel like this is perfect. If you just want to create a traditional fall look, this palette will have you covered. And then if you're not feeling like the oranges or the reds, you have greens in here. I do think greens are part of the fall season as well. You're gonna see quite a few green palettes in this video. I love the look that I created today. This is definitely in my fall rotation. Next one's from ColourPop. It's the It's a Mood palette. This, I believe, came out last year and I love this palette. This is one of my favorite mega palettes from ColourPop because I just felt like this was so different at the time from all the other palettes that they were coming out with. I love the, the more grungy-esque. It's not super grungy, but I love the more like, deeper, sultry jewel tones in here. I just feel like all of these colors pair so well together. If I could just recommend one mega palette, it probably would be this one if you like color. I realized my brushes were missing over there and I just put them back there because I just used those to do this eye look, but felt like I was like, something's missing from my background. And it was my brushes up here. This one is the Blend Bunny All Done Up palette. And this is definitely not a traditional fall palette, but I feel like it's such a beautiful, muted, kind of almost grungy fall kind of color story. Also is pretty neutral to where if you don't like color and you prefer more neutral tones, this one you might like. This is such a unique color story to my entire collection. I have no other palettes like this, but I do think this is such a beautiful, beautiful palette. And I cannot wait to play around with like those like mustard colors. I don't feel like this right here is fall, but everything else definitely. This next one, oh my gosh, I just added this to my collection this year. I was on a Nomad Cosmetics kick and I still am. I'm obsessed with their palettes. But when I saw this one, when did I buy this? I bought this in like maybe April. Yeah, I bought this in April and trust me, I have been waiting for the fall time to use this palette. It is their Hudson Valley palette. I love the packaging on this. Just look at this. A matte packaging and it's so beautiful. Just look at this artwork. It is so stunning. It's so beautiful. This is what the color story looks like. This is such a beautiful, beautiful palette. I love the fact that there's only 3 shimmers in here because I just feel like the mattes is what really does the talking with this. I love how one side of the palette is a traditional fall color story. Then we have this side over here, which definitely reminds me of like more being outside, like the dirt and like, I don't know, I just love how like dirty almost this side feels. And I just love that it's basically 2 palettes in one. You cover up this side, you have a really interesting color story, and then you cover up this side, you have like that traditional fall color story. But I just feel like these 3 shimmers just pair so well with any of the mattes. I will say since this palette came out, Nomad's quality and formula has improved drastically. I've used these shimmers twice now, and I feel like the shimmers from Nomad are so much better now in their newer palettes. I kind of wish that they would update the shimmers in this one. The mattes are still really pigmented and beautiful and very vibrant, but the shimmers are just not my favorite shimmers. I feel like they're a little bit more drier. They don't have like that creamy consistency, but the color story is so beautiful and I love the mattes. That's why I'm not too mad there's only 3 shimmers in here, because they're not my favorite shimmer formula from Nomad, but the mattes are where it's at. These next 2 palettes are from Natasha Denona. I knew when I was going through my collection that I wanted to include both of these palettes in this video because I do feel like these scream fall. First one is the Natasha Denona Bronze palette. This is one of my favorite palettes from Natasha. This is what the palette looks like. I feel like any warm tone palette like this is literally fall. This palette is heavily shimmer based, which I'm not mad at. The newer formula that Natasha has for her shimmers is top tier. These are more of like your generic kind of shimmer formula, but I still love this palette and I always pull this out come the fall time. Every year I use this for Thanksgiving. This other palette is a newer one. It's the Yucca palette. I use this palette as a companion palette because yes, the mattes do run on the lighter side, but if we are choosing this color story over the I Need a Nude, it's gonna always be this one because I just feel like these colors just show up a lot more on my skin tone with a lighter base. And I love the shimmers in this palette. The shimmers, this is that newer formula that I was mentioning. Bronze palette doesn't have shimmers like this, and I just feel like these are just so beautiful. Look at that. They're so wet on the skin and they're just stunning. This is perfect for this time of year. From Odin's Eye, this is the Stone and Rock palette. I love this palette. You see how many different textures are in here. We have a multi-chrome. We have more of like that wet kind of shimmer. We have like more of the chunky shimmers, and like we have like the shimmer like mattes with glitter. Like there's just so many different textures in this palette and I just love that. I have a review up on almost all of these palettes on my channel. If you're curious, just type in my name and then the palette after and it should pop up. But I love this palette. It's so beautiful. I feel like greens are just perfect. Like I love greens. Since we're talking about green, let's talk about the other green palette I pulled. I almost forgot about this one because I thought this was all green, but then I remembered there's like reds and oranges and different things like that in here, but it is the Beauty Bay Earthy palette. Now, if you love grungy green tones like this, you're gonna love this palette. This is so beautiful. You have every tone of green you could ever imagine. Not only that, you have some oranges, you know, you have some browns, some reds, some golds. This is such a beautiful palette. Like, it's like 2-in-1. I love this one, and I know a lot of times when I do recommend Beauty Bay, I always have these size palettes. They don't just have these palettes. Like I know for some of you this is really big and probably unnecessary, but I love to have options. I just feel like for the price that they offer, this is such a good bang for your buck because of how many shades you get. Now, if you wanted to travel with this, that's a different story. I know for a fact these are not palettes I would travel with because of how big they are. But for variety, if I'm just sitting down playing with makeup, I don't mind pulling out this palette. I have 3 Glamlight palettes, okay? 3 of them. Now, we know Glamlight loves to do a lot of colorful palettes, but to my surprise, they have some neutrals thrown in the mix. And I really love all 3 of these neutral kind of fall palettes. The first one is the Hershey's Milk Chocolate palette. Now, I pulled this one because this just looks like a yummy fall dessert kind of palette. If you like neutrals, you're gonna love this one. This one is more of like your full glam kind of neutral palette, but it's so beautiful. I love the different variations of, you know, the mattes in here. It is stunning. And the shimmers, I love Glamlight's formula. I think they have one of the best on the market. Now, the next palette is this one, I wouldn't say it's a fall palette. It's more of like a spooky palette, okay? Because I love spooky season. We have the Chucky X Glamlight palette. Look at this. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? This is beautiful. Look at that. Now, this is out of my comfort zone. Like, out of my comfort zone. But once we get in October, I will be pulling out this palette and just creating some fun, grungy looks, doing like a black lip, you know, just stuff that I wouldn't normally do. I cannot wait to play with this. I also can't wait to see what they come out with for the Ghostface collection because I think I'm going to love it. I'm excited for it. I cannot wait. That's coming out at the end of the month and I'm so excited to play with that collection. I don't even know what it looks like. I know I want it. But this is such a fun, grungy, you know, palette. I love it. It's really cool. By the way, this collection is available at CVS now. So if you've been wanting to see this in person, it's at CVS. This next one is the Chocolate Martini palette. I loved this collection when it came out. I just felt like it was so different. I also love how this looks like a little bit like a menu and it has like the nutrition facts. Not gonna lie, I do miss the food themed palettes from Glamlight, but I love the direction that they're going in right now. But this is such a beautiful, beautiful palette. It is a neutral one. From the name of it, I thought it would be a lot more deeper, kind of like the Hershey's one, but I'm not mad though because we have the Hershey's one. And this one's just great if you don't like those deeper tones. This one is really beautiful. I love that you have golds, you have the browns. It's such a fun color story with like interesting pops of color. Have like your orange in here, a little bit of like a purple duochrome shade going on. Next palette is a very expensive palette. This is like a splurge palette, but I looked in my collection and saw this one and I was like, wow, that's perfect for fall. And it is the Pat McGrath Bronze Seduction palette. Really beautiful. Is it just me? Which is, some of you are probably like, girl, what? But like, when it comes to Pat McGrath, I love the formula, everything, but I'm always so scared to use it because it's like so expensive, but at the same time, that's a waste. I need to use it more and stop like not using the palette. But I pulled this out because this is going on the top of my vanity for the fall. I will get a lot of use out of this. It's such a beautiful color story and I just love it. These Astro Blitz shades, they're so pretty. I love them. Just look at that. Every time I pull it out, I just admire how beautiful it is and I'm just in awe. This one, of course, I had to find a way to talk about. I think this is perfection. This is the Flower Beauty Desert Lights palette. If you're not new to my channel, then you know that I love the Flower Beauty palettes that come like this. Yes, I did buy the 2 new ones that they came out with. I've been asking for new palettes and they finally gave us some. But I just had to include this one. If you love shimmer shadows or you like those one and done type of shadows, this one is absolutely perfect. It is neutral, but I feel like this is just really beautiful paired with, honestly, any of these palettes that I've talked about. All right, this next one is 2 that I'm just gonna combine together. It's from Milk Cosmetics. We have the Gemini palette and the Gemini 2 palette. These are beautiful, and I do think these came out in the fall last year. Well, Gemini has already been out, but I think Gemini 2 just came out last year. Not sure. Can't remember. But this is what Gemini looks like. Really beautiful, very different. Just love those greens paired with like the yellowy mustard colors. Love it. And then here's the Gemini 2, which is me in a palette. This palette is on the more deeper side, but it's so beautiful. Next one is from ABH. This is the Norvina Collection Volume 3 palette. Every year for the fall, this is what I pull out because it's the most colorful palette. I feel like this is great for the summer and the fall. If you love colorful shadows, you're gonna love this one. You're gonna absolutely love it. It is so vibrant. And of course, you know I had to have a vibrant, colorful palette in here for all of my color lovers. This one's perfect. Last palette I have to talk about in this video is the Beauty Bay Fiery 2.0. This, I think, was made for the fall. Are you kidding? This is stunning. I was contemplating using this palette today or the bperfect, but the bperfect won. So I ended up using that one, but I think I'm gonna play with this one tomorrow. I just feel like these tones just get me so excited for this time of year. It's such a fun palette. You have everything that you need to create anything that you want. Honestly, this palette's literally all that you need for this time of year. Literally nothing else. Now, there are a lot of newer palettes that just came out that I'm very excited for, and they are perfect for this time of year. So I'm excited to add those to my collection, but I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope it was helpful or fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.